And welcome back to another installment of Asagao Academy. I'm your host, sensei-pong, and man, my recording schedule went for a loop and I couldn't really get too much done since the last recording, so I don't exactly remember what was going on specifically. All I know is crumpets. Something about crumpets, because I see it right here on the screen. So let's carry on. May, do you know how to make crumpets? I leaned back in a chair and made eye contact with May, who was sitting on her bed.
Really?
Crumpets? Are they expecting a visit from the Queen? Close. They're for Shane. Wait, is that like a backhanded comment to Shane calling him a queen? Or, unless she's calling him, saying that he's as cool as Queen, the band. Take that as you may. I don't know. They're for Shane. Oh, good idea.
Bingo.
Stereotypically English. A nice sentiment. Yeah, and I'm sure I'm sure he has tea at 4 or 2 or whenever tea time is. I think it was 4 o'clock. My tea time's any time. Maybe that's just what he needs. Yeah, he's been kind of talking about England a lot. I think he misses it more than he lets on. Hold up. What's that? Maybe that was just my headphones. I have no idea. Yeah, he's been kind of talking about England a lot. I think he misses it more than he lets on. Is that a weird thing to do? Well, maybe. But you're obviously just trying to think of him. No one in their right mind would get mad at that. May nodded. Also, I don't know. Huh? I don't know how to make crumpets. Oh, I'll look it up. Thanks. Whoa, 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 whoa! You're gonna make them by yourself? Glare. Yeah? Don't you remember what happened last time? Let me come this time. May jumped off the bed instead of using the ladder. She pointed to the door, and a hand on her hip. I'm in a baking mood today. I'd appreciate the help. I could use a second set of eyes. Maybe then I wouldn't mistake soy sauce for vanilla. Oh. No, that seems like a nice little fun practical joke you could put on somebody. Replace all their vanilla extract with soy sauce. Good times. It wouldn't smell the same, but you know, if you can get away with it, that'd be awesome. Kiss the cook. Okay, so we have to bring the yeast to life with warm water. May took her finger off the flour-covered cookbook and ran to the sink with a measuring cup. I was whisking together the dry ingredients, but May had yet to start on the wet. It's already alive. We just need to activate it. Bread is alive? Yes. Yes, until you bake it. Then the yeast dies and you're left with fresh bread. Oh. That's so sad. She mixed together the milk and the water. Ready to combine?
Uh-huh.
Yep. I glanced over at the cookbook on the countertop. Okay, it says pour it in slowly and mix continuously. Oops. Slowly? I glanced back at May, and her arms was empty bowl. The ingredients were drowning. They should still be okay, right? I think so. Let's check the consistency. I stirred vigorously for a few minutes, trying to make up for the lost time. Finally evened out to a similar consistency. Kind of. Lumpy crumpets. Looks fine to me. I tilted my head, comparing it to the picture in the book. Yeah, it looks pretty alright. Now, we let it rise for an hour. Can it be baked already? I'm hungry. May, these aren't for us. I paused. No, May would get half of them. She did help me after all. I wish we have to let the yeast fill it with bubbles or something. Otherwise, we'd be eating tortillas. Tortillas sound so good right now. I checked my watch. 4:30 in the afternoon. In that case, you want to grab something while we wait?
Yay!
Yay! Hannah, you're a genius! She grabbed me by the shoulders and smiled widely. I took a few seconds to write "Do not touch" in capital letters on a sticky note, then placed it on her covered dough. I was about to follow May out the room when I looked back. I added a "please" at the bottom of the note. Oh, wasn't that thoughtful? Hannah, let's go! Coming! I scooped up my backpack and followed the almost sprinting May out of the door and to the cafeteria. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. When we got back, everything was exactly where we left it. Sadly, so too were our dirty dishes. I uncovered the dough, which was pleasantly plump. May peeked over my shoulder. Ooh, it looks like a bald head. I nodded. Then I was thinking more along the lines of, well, a butt. Yeah. Bake the butt. It will be delicious. Now we knead it, bake it. I looked over the recipe, divided into equally sized lumps, and put them in the oven. Oh, the oven! Since we had to wait for the dough to rise, we wouldn't bother to preheat the oven. As I set it to the proper temperature, May formed balls out of the dough on the table. Soon I joined her. They're so squishy. May tickled one like it was a kitten's chin. Creepy. Then we baked them. And they were flat. Really flat. I identified with them. Oh, sad.
Yeah!
Okay. So maybe they're not airy and light, but they're still taste pretty good. She shoved a whole crumpet in her mouth, wincing slightly. It's hot! These are kind of just soft crackers. What did we do wrong? Not enough yeast? Not enough resting time? I don't know, Hannah, but they're good enough for me. Crumbs spewed across from the counter as she spoke. You can have all of them, then. She seemed to like them more than Shane ever would. In that way, it worked out for the both of us. Sad. Her eyes lit up. Really? Oh, oops. I want to stay and make another batch. Ooh, I'll help. I smiled. I hoped she would say that. May being there to catch my mistakes made me more confident. And so we started again, from the beginning this time. I read the instructions exactly as they were written in the book, telling me exactly what to do. Okay, so how about we let it rise a second time? If one rise created air bubbles, two rises would make twice as many bubbles, right? Seems like a bad idea. Yeah, let's do that. We could also let them sit longer. Good idea. I don't want to make them a third time. With our friends. After a few hours. Checking between studying sessions and meals, we were satisfied with the size of the dough ball. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm done. Let's roll them up. We split the dough in half, one for each of us, and rolled them up again. Once we placed them on the tray and into the oven, I started to clean up. May had her head under the table. Are you looking for something? She came back up to look at me, banging her head on the edge of the table. Bonk. She frowned, but otherwise had no other reaction, which was fine because I flinched enough for the both of us. You seen a plastic toy around here? What does it look like? It's a small cat. Oh, it's an itty-bitty kitty. Oh, like those itty-bitty kitties? Gerard collected those. Wasn't he looking for a rare one? I haven't seen one around, but we can check. No, it's not that important. I'll just come back later. I'm not even sure if it's in here. I'm gonna go check around the school. Want me to help? No, you need to watch the crumpets. I'll be fine.
Bye-bye.
Good luck! May winked, then jogged out of the room. Yay, we made crumpets. Finally, it was time to get my crumpets. I opened the oven, hands trembling, the heat fogged up in my glasses. But when the condensation cleared, I saw pure beauty. They were perfectly shaped, risen and golden brown along the edges. I was ecstatic. I pulled them out, the baked goodness wafting into my nose. We did it. Through teamwork, we achieved the impossible. Impossible for us, anyways. I set them on the countertop to cool and pulled out my phone to take a picture. Yay. I'll assume this is a text. Thanks for making them with me, May. So pretty. Can't wait to give them to Shane. Shane was bound to love them. He had to. Unless he's on a low-carb diet, then he'd just be like, no, I hate it. After they cooled, I put them into a plastic container and sealed it tight. They wouldn't leave my sight until they were in Shane's hands. English crumpets, done light, toasted, and finally buttered. At long last, the time for delivery came. Shane was already sitting down to eat when I entered the cafeteria. Too excited to waste time, I crossed directly over to him and plumped my plastic bin in front of him. Foof! Shane was already sitting down to eat when I entered the cafeteria. Too excited to waste time, I crossed directly over to him and plumped my plastic bin in front of him.
Hello.
Oh, hello, Hannah.
Hi.
Hi, I hope you're hungry. I opened the bin and pulled out a single buttery crumpet, then unhooked a thermos of tea from my bag. I made you some crumpets. I have black tea with sugar and milk, too. Shane paled and rushed to unwrap the crumpet to show him the unscathed surface. Either this look is like, who do you think I am? No, don't worry. I followed the instructions to the letter. There's no way I messed anything up. Shane looked less than convinced, but he gently took the crumpet from my hand. Maybe he felt bad for making such a big deal of it last time, or maybe he knew crumpets were so basic it was almost impossible to mess them up. He carefully inspected its surface. The butter, having cooled, and formed a glaze between the cut halves. Not bad. It smells pretty good, too. He peeled off a chunk and brought it to his lips. You made them yourself, you said? I nodded furiously. He stared into the crumpet chunk. He glanced at me again, then sighed. Nothing for it. He popped the chunk into his mouth, chewing thoughtfully, his head tilted from side to side. He was practically bursting, unable to breathe until I saw his reaction.
Yeah.
Not bad. Not bad at all, Hannah.
Yay!
Yes! I grabbed the other crumpets from the bin, ready to put them all on display, and in that moment, Shane wolfed down the entire rest of the crumpet. Cranky. Shane's hand flew to his throat. He croaked, then gasped, then started to cough. He stood, his chair knocked to the floor behind him. The room fell silent as I realized what was happening. He's choking! Somebody help him! Okay. We're slowly killing him. I ain't young, and I've dated and been in a bunch of relationships over, okay, not like a whole bunch, but you know what I mean. I know my relationship advice pretty well, so just telling any listeners out there that are struggling with relationship issues and whatnot, a good idea to stay away from is killing the person you're interested in. That's usually a good idea. I scanned the room, the normal boots table, the hidden block table, but all the faces stared blankly at me. At this rate, Shane was going to die. I had to try something. Anything. Feed him more crumpets. Well, okay. So Heimlich maneuver makes sense. But does my character even know how to do it correctly is the next question. Give him some tea. The tea may be too hot. I like the idea of feeding him more crumpets, because that just seems like a bad idea. But you know what? We're going to Heimlich maneuver, I think. I think that's a good idea. Yeah, might as well. Heimlich maneuver. Alright. I can do this. Okay, the music turned wacky. It's going to turn out bad, I know it. I positioned myself behind Shane, straightened him out, and placed my arms around his stomach. I was going to give him a big hug. I had no idea what one was supposed to do. Wasn't it possible to accidentally break someone's ribs doing this? I just kind of held my open hand and thrust into Shane's lower stomach, wincing as I did. 1, 2, 3... Shane grunted and grunted, but it didn't seem to have any effect. I lifted my hands and tried again, Shane's face slowly losing color. In a panic, I squeezed him as hard as I could, so hard that he almost lifted off the ground. He clawed at my hands, and I immediately let go. I'm sorry, I don't know what to do. Somebody tapped my shoulder. I turned to see May, a stern look on her face. "Step aside, Hannah." I skittered away, almost bumping into Satch, unable to do anything but watch. Watch as my best friend saved a life I endangered. May knew exactly what she was doing. She must have been certified for it. She placed her hands carefully on his stomach, adjusted his position to the proper angle, then thrust in and up. It was like watching an instructional video. It took maybe 10 seconds before a clump of mushy crumpet flew from Shane's mouth and splattered onto the tiles. Something violently green was poking out of it. Yeah. I knew where May's missing figure went. Really? Her itty-bitty kitty's head smiled at me from the mush. Hopefully she didn't want it back. May gently rubbed Shane's shoulder as his breathing slowly returned to normal. The room burst into applause. I joined in, moving as if in a dream. It was amazing how far away the situation felt now that it was over. "May, that was amazing!" She bowed, a slight blush tinting her face. "I mean, I only did what I was trained to do. I'm not that great." Shane attempted to clear his throat, licking his lips. "Thank you, May." Thank you, May. His voice was hoarse, but he was speaking and breathing again. That was all that mattered. "You should stop talking. If your stomach and chest feel okay, we should get you to Mr. McPasta." May wrapped an arm gently around his shoulders, and to my surprise, Shane let her guide him out of the room. I wanted to follow them, but no matter how I tried, I couldn't make my body move. My eyes fell to the floor.
Hey.
That was pretty impressive, Hannah. You mean trying to kill him? Of course not.
All right.
You came to his rescue, or at least you tried to, when no one else would. Sure, it didn't work, but you did a lot better than any of us did. A suave grin crossed his sparkling face. Beauty and brains. You're really something else. Really? I glanced at the other Normal Boots members, who were all smiling gently at me. Thanks, everyone. With that, the lunchroom returned to normal. Though, surely the drama would be discussed for weeks to come. Shane was all right, and that was all that mattered. But how on earth would I make it up to him this time? Guilt followed me like a hunting dog. Shane was built into my everyday routine. I went to class with him, I ate with him, I walked the halls with him. It was painful to see him everywhere, especially when I felt so bad. Eventually, I started avoiding him. And with that, I'm going to say this is actually a pretty decent point to cut off, because we don't know what's going to happen here. This could be bad for us. We've been having a bad run of bad luck. So, see what happens next time here on Pong Plays Asagao Academy. That was very garbled. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Sensei-pong signing out. Crumpets.